Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions, and it's another edition of Danny and Tim's Music Scene. We do it every other Wednesday. It's always fun. It's always newsy. And right now, it's venturing into the area where maybe we're going to start to talk about a little more live music as well. We've got a lot of things on the plate this time around, as we always do. We'll talk about the Grammys and maybe Tim and I's little distance from certain things at the Grammys and trying to embrace some other things, and talk about some artists who were featured there and some maybe who weren't featured there as well. And we'll take everything from all around the map, from the Strokes to James Taylor, Billie Eilish, Pat Matheny, David Bowie, all the things that we normally do, some recommendations as far as documentaries are concerned, and actually a list of some upcoming shows in an outdoor venue. That's something to look forward to as Tim and I talk about music and we bat it around and we have a good time. We have great fun. He writes for Kansas City Magazine. He appears on 90.9 The Bridge. And thankfully for me and for you, maybe even more for me because I love doing it, we do Danny and Tim's Music Scene every other Wednesday on Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, which is all presented by Cinematic Visions.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. I'm here with David Schmidt from Private Capital. And David, tell us more about your outstanding firm.
Thanks, Danny. Here at Private Capital, we focus on return on asset. In today's world, it is survival of the fittest. We look at things from all angles and try to figure out what works best for you. The changes we will see this next year on assets will be monumental. The key to success is knowledge. Know where you want to go, and we'll be here along the way. To find out more, give us a call at 816-221-7775.
David Schmidt from Private Capital with the best service for you. It's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodall of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in receiving a prestigious award.
Danny, we've been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award from Integrity Doctors. And what this means is that all of our offices throughout Kansas City have made sure to give people excellent chiropractic and acupuncture care, be on time, and do a very complete and thorough job, and have great responses back from patients.
I know firsthand because I was just treated, for instance, today by you. You have a wide range of fantastic services.
Absolutely. Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies, rehab, anything that you need to keep you well in bones, muscles, joints, and nerves.
And I can't say how much it's benefited me in the time I've coming here. Upwards of 2 years, my back has improved 100%. And you can have that same kind of treatment too. For more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, visit asfca.com/Danny today. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson and Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Tim, slowly but surely, little baby steps, we're creeping towards a little bit more normalcy as far as the music scene is concerned. We see it in the sports scene where things are creeping back a little bit, but then you see warning signs. The PGA Tour hadn't had a positive test in months and months and months, and now they've started to let fans back in, and this week they have 3 golfers who are out with positive tests, so we certainly know we're not out of the woods or anything like that, but it'll be nice on a limited basis to get some things rolling and hope that we don't have major setbacks as far as this is concerned.
Well, right, we found out, last week, and if you're a basketball fan, especially a Kansas basketball fan, that this isn't over. And what happened to them? That sure put their NCAA tournament voyage into a state of doubt, like who's going to be available and everything like that. So, yeah, I think everybody's like, around the tree ready to open the presents, and a couple people are opening the presents before, your parents get downstairs. It's like, whoa.
What a good analogy that is. But I did mention the live music scene, and we have some real cracks as far as the possibilities of, with the weather getting better and everything else, things that were actually maybe tried out last year and operate under the current restrictions.
Right. So Lemonade Park, which we talked about many times over the summer, announced its the opening of its 2021 schedule, and it all starts the weekend of April 2nd. The first show, and that's out in West Bottoms. It's in a parking lot next to there are restaurants around, and there's a brewery around. So there are plenty of things to do down there. And they set up, they set up a stage and chairs that are distance apart. I'm not sure, there may be more people admitted this year than there were last summer, but we'll see. I don't really know. They haven't announced that setup yet. But so the first show is April 2nd. It starts at 6 p.m. and 3 really good acts. I recommend, especially get there to see this opening DJ, Stevie Cruz. He's just a music genius, and he puts together. He's one of those guys who loves every genre of music, so you never know what you're going to hear. Always enjoyable. So that's April 2nd. And then another show there I want to recommend is on the 10th of April, the Freedom Affair. They are this old school taproot soul R&B band with horns, and they have 3 women singers that are fabulous. So if you like that, kind of vintage 70s soul, perfect, very groovy, very dancey. That'll be a blast. And then the last show of the month, April 30th, the 3 bands I really like, Emmeline Twist, Knife Crime, and Dan Jones and the Squids. All really, they're Emmeline Twist is kind of a shoegazing, atmospheric post-punk band, but they're very groove-oriented, so it's kind of sultry and groovy. But the other 2 are really popish and bright and kind of happy bands, post-wave, new wave, a little bit of punk. So that'll be a really fun show. So there are 2 others that if you go to the Lemonade Park page on Facebook, they have it all set up and tickets are available, very affordable. And it'll be like the intro back into live music for this year, which, as we know, if you've been paying any bit of attention, it's looking, it's not going to be like 2019, but will be much better than last year.
Just to revisit a little, you went to Lemonade Park last year on a couple of occasions, felt safe, and you're somebody who I think has been responsible, if not cautious, in your world, your family world, and it seems like they probably will allow more people in this time, but you consider it an extremely safe venue, right?
Yes. So the first time it was really great. People who attended were vigilant and safe, and there were several people walking around, and if anybody came close to, violating the rules of the protocol, there were just kind of nudge gently to, move back a little, or, don't sit there, or it was all very, very easily done, and all the rules were enforced, diplomatically. Second time we went, there were more people, and some people were a little looser with the rules than we liked. But I didn't feel unsafe or anything. It was just like, those people are just ignoring the rules, sitting on the ground between tables, which is like, no, the tables are there for a reason, to keep people apart, So there was a little bit of that, and little people getting too close in line, but nothing I felt, certainly now, it's nothing to worry about, I don't think.
And I forget the date, but the Royals have announced that the fantastic Motley Crue and whoever else is with them, they've set a date for that for later in the summer. And the Royals, of course, will be starting out with a percentage of fans, I think 10,000, I do believe. Certainly not like Texas, where they're going to allow sellout crowds at the start. I saw a college basketball tournament highlight the other day from a small conference in Texas, and it was a absolutely packed gymnasium, which didn't look like a very good idea. So we'll just see.
Texas and Florida both turn the clocks back 2 years. Like, we're fine.
Right. Absolutely.
It's all gone.
So, hopefully that they won't regret that decision. We're further along. We have vaccines, although there's some resistance to people taking them. And we'll just have to wait and see on that. Let's turn to another thing, and that's Sunday night was the Grammys. Now, I had a lot going on, so it wasn't necessarily where I was going to. And I used to be a pretty religious watcher of the Grammys, if not for the awards that would pop up, but a lot of the acts that or feature performances that they did were fun, and artists used to get together. And in reading about it the next day, and I didn't watch it. I didn't watch a second of it, to be honest. And frankly, and I did know it was on. I just had a lot of other things going on in my world, so it wasn't a real priority. But then in reading about it, I thought, there's a couple things there I might have liked to see. And they did a tribute to Jerry Marsden, the Jerry and the Pacemakers. And, there were some modern performances that looked interesting. But on the whole, when I was reviewing the winners, and, I actually did give it a go and YouTubed some videos of some of the winning artists, and it does make you feel a little detached from the current music scene. And I guess a lot of it is probably the fact that a lot was more what probably isn't even considered hardcore rap now, but is. And I'll have to say that when hip-hop initially started, and even listening to it today, I very much enjoyed that. And I very much find it few and far between that I do like the kind of rap that is selling these days. It almost strikes me that it would work as poetry at the park a little bit better than music, but that's just an old man view of things. But hey, I am an older person, and I always am going to give something a chance. And if I like something, it doesn't matter what genre it is. But on the whole, the winners were things that I probably won't consume.
Yeah, I mean, I realized the same thing you did, that what's popular, right now, what's really popular, at least on radio and in other genres, they're not addressing people my age and of my taste. Which, with regard to hip hop, I like the artists I tend to like are like Kendrick Lamar. I like where there's got to be some musical sense to it, whether it's just instrumental or vocals or melody. And I notice there's not, at least what I'm exposed to, there's not enough of that for me to want to listen to it over and over. I appreciate a lot of what I saw, Sunday night. I can respect the artistry that goes into it, both lyrically, musically, and visually. I mean, it's so spectacular. Some of it, it's really impressive. But like I said, it's not music that I want to listen to over and over. So that occurred to me. I really liked how they set it up. It was pretty intimate. I like watching what all the performers and nominees had done with regard to their mask fashion and matching it with whatever they were wearing. That was pretty interesting. And I think for what they had to do, what they tried to do, they really like fulfilled that mission, which was like show that we're respecting the pandemic, the virus, and the protocols, have a little bit of fun with it, and still manage to pull off an award show with live performances. And bravo! I think they did it. I think they got a lot of diverse performers in music to go on stage. But afterwards, it was funny. Like the Grammys are like, it's kind of like prom. If you don't get asked or no one will go with you, you think prom is stupid. But if you get nominated or you're asked, you think it's great. And yeah, I love the Grammys, and you're honored because what's really funny is Wolfgang Van Halen, was asked to perform a tribute to his father Eddie, and decided out of respect to his dad that he wasn't the one to do it, and so he declined to perform. But then he was upset at how they remembered him. I guess they just shone light on his guitar, and it was relatively brief. And now Van Halen fans are just hating the Grammys all over the place. Like I didn't think they'd cared to begin with, but they do now, I guess. But the other thing was there were so many people who died last year. How could they give anybody,
right?
The proper amount of time? What is the proper amount of time? So I think it's funny that there's so much Grammy hate out there. Unless someone you really like wins, then it's the greatest thing ever. But I like some of the winners. Fiona Apple won for her record. The Strokes won for their record. So.
Right, I was going to bring them up, and they made 6 albums in 20 years, and the newest one is obviously it's been a long time. They made familiar songs in the early 2000s. They're a very loyal fan base as far as New York City is concerned. So that I can dig. I'll say that.
Right, and Taylor Swift became the first woman artist to win 3 Album of the Year awards, joining Paul Simon and Stevie Wonder and somebody else too. I can't remember right now, but that's pretty good company. I like her new record. That's good. It's fine, And then Beyonce also set a record for Grammys once. So I like it that the women were prominent. Also, one of the country singles of the year was the Highwomen song.
Yep.
Crowded Table. So that was great.
What's funny is it doesn't seem like awards ceremonies can get it right to a certain extent. I'm not saying they weren't right this time, but they've taken all kinds of criticism in the country music world for the fact that women aren't represented. And then this year, the 5 nominees for the best country album were all women. So it's like you didn't have to make that kind of statement, I guess, but maybe they were the best 5.
Well, I think that there's no argument there. There were no. Of all the good records, those were as outstanding as any others. There's no argument. It's obviously subjective, but it wasn't like there was another record by a male or that was obviously better or,
right.
significantly more important. It was like, yeah, fine. We got this pool of really good records. Why not pull 5 women out? Fine. I'm all for it. And, that was kind of a statement, and I don't have anything, there's nothing wrong with it.
That's absolutely the case. And one more or a couple more Grammy notes, and then we'll talk about some documentaries and things of that in our second segment. But James Taylor won for, I think, American Pop Album or Traditional American Pop Album. There's a lot of categories. And James Taylor's a very interesting performer in the fact that he was at the vanguard of the singer-songwriter movement, and after his first couple albums, he's very seldom written any songs. He wrote some iconic songs at the outset of his career, and then he became sort of an artist who used either the American Songbook or other people's songs, which is just fine. He was a person who played very mellow and lovely music while his life was a complete turmoil at the earliest moments. And then he, in his last couple of decades at least, he seems like one of the most gentle and pleasant souls you could be around. It's like a warm, comfortable pair of slippers. He's been a real dichotomy of sorts through the years.
He's like Mr. Rogers. He's very gentle, and I've seen him several times. Every time, like he's got his brand and his trademark, and he's got his little, backpack of songs that he does, and he takes them to each show, and he can still sing just fine. He always has a great band behind him. He tells same stories. He's dry, he's witty, he's kind of quiet. And that voice, I mean, I can't resist it. I love it. And so, yeah, good for him. He's figured out, writing songs is hard. Writing new songs is hard. I've already got enough. I'll just, or do my own ones or someone else's.
Billy Joel kind of did that, too. He came to a certain point in time. He put out more and more albums, and even when they stopped selling a little bit, he was writing his own music. And it's not like he started recording other people's songs. He just decided, hey, I have this concert franchise. I have a catalog of songs. I have plenty. And so there's no need for me to do new material.
Nobody really wants to hear it either. Because, people were raving about McCartney's record last year and how great it was. And I put it on and I'm like, it's okay. I don't know. What am I missing?
Right.
Like the opening song was 8 minutes long. Like, no, I don't need 8 minutes of this. This isn't King Crimson or, Yes. It's just kind of a McCartney groove that is interesting at first and goes on. So I don't know. If I went to see McCartney now, I wouldn't want him to spend much more than one new song out of the night. But because when you've got that legacy, it's probably hard to get inspired to write new stuff.
Yeah, I would think it is. I mean, to me, songwriting would seem to be damn hard no matter what. But anyway, in those circumstances as well, if you're like, well, people aren't going to appreciate it. And, some people can pull it off. Obviously, my favorite artist, Mark Knopfler, insists on the fact that he's going to put out new material, and he's going to play almost all new material when he's in concert. And his fans have come to accept it, and he still, sells out mid-level arenas, and people love it, and it's a great band. So, but not many people can, and some people are off-put by that, and that I do understand that. There's no question about that. We'll do another.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I saw Todd Rundgren once where he played, the only thing he played, except for like the encore of like 3 or 4 songs, was front to back a new album that had not been released yet, so no one had heard it. And but his fans just ate it up. They felt special, like, oh, we're getting a secret listen, and I was bored. So the encore saved it.
Let's give another couple Grammy notes and talk about some other things as well with Tim. It's always fascinating territory to discover and revisit and reflect on. Right here on Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, it's all presented by Cinematic Visions.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. The bitter cold snap in February was just another intense reminder of how important it is to have a quality heating and cooling company on your side. That's why you need to know about my friends at Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Jeff Dillon and his top quality staff provide honest, affordable, and reliable service all year long. Their number one priority is taking care of the customer and focus on being genuine, always following through and standing behind what they say and do. If you need HVAC or AC repair, it's important you get help from a team of professionals. Dillon's Heating and Cooling's team can walk you through a range of products, the advantages of heating and cooling systems, and ultimately help you find the best HVAC system for you. They're always glad to answer your questions and set up an appointment for an installation consultation. Whether you're looking to upgrade to a newer model of your current system or need one installed in a new home, give my friends at Dillon's Heating and Cooling a call today at 913-214-0529. That's 913-214-0529, or visit dillonsheatingandcooling.com to answer all of your questions. Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Their slogan is their goal, always treating you like family.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses, and 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days, 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days, as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the pure gold oil. And recently, I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new smart laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Back with Tim Finn, we're talking music. Of course, Tim Finn from In Kansas City Magazine. You can hear him on 90.9 The Bridge. Just look for all things Tim Finn. And I've talked many times about how entertaining his Facebook page is. If you like music, if you like an interesting person and thoughtful person, then that's a great place to go. And also someone who you're the equivalent of an author who is puts out 2 books a year. There's a lot of material on there, and it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, there is.
Very enjoyable.
And I would recommend, if you go to in Kansas City, we posted an interview I did with Chuck Mead, who was in a band called BR549. He's done a lot of stuff. He moved to Nashville from Lawrence back in the early 90s, was in a band called Homestead Grays in Lawrence when I was going to school there. Anyway, if you have any connection to Lawrence from the early 80s into the early to mid 90s, you'll probably be interested in all that Chuck has to say, because he was a mainstay and his bands were mainstays, and it was good to hear him just reminisce about what was going on when I was at school there. So that's, inkansascity.com.
That's great. It's a great site. It's a great hard copy magazine as well. And how much, you obviously right now, because of the whole situation, you just aren't even, you're not able to do as much of that. And there's not as much content. How enjoyable is it when you do what you do?
Well, I was doing 3 to 4 shows a month, which
right.
was down from what I was doing in the heyday of the Star. I was probably doing 7 to 8 shows a month, and I could just pick. I could do small shows, I could do large shows. Didn't have to discriminate. So my last couple of years at the Star, it was like, just the big shows, because it was all about online and online traffic, and that's how it was with the magazine. I would do, of course, Arrowhead, Sprint Center, and then select shows and then Starlight too, but select shows at the Midland and the Uptown. It would depend, but pretty much it was Starlight and up for crowd size. So, and that was actually a nice switch to do, not to be doing 2, sometimes 3 a week. I mean, there were weeks at the Starlight I would do 4 shows in 6 nights, and that was, as fun as it might sound, it was grueling. It was kind of brutal.
One more Grammy note. He didn't win, but he was nominated again. Pat Metheny's been nominated and won multiple times, and of course he is from Kansas City. My wife loves to turn that on Spotify while she's out in the kitchen or whatever, and it's always a great listen. Have you had much interaction with Pat Metheny?
Not personally, no. His brother Mike, who lives in town, I've met him. Mike's a really good musician as well. But Pat seems to be someone who is really loyal to his hometown. He's from Lee Summit, but all the musicians around here speak really highly of him and how he has not forgotten where he's from, and he remembers and honors Kansas City. And when he comes back, he's really becomes kind of part of the community. So he's he's someone who's kind of, I think, a little under the radar here, at least more than he should be, because he should be more of a household name, should be better known, I think, around here, because he's very, very well respected internationally in the world of jazz.
Let's talk a little bit about some documentaries that, we try to give people some tips and everything, and there's nothing off the top of my head that we've been watching recently that maybe something will pop in as we go along, but I know you've got a new resource you've been using and looking at and are enthusiastic about some things that are popping up.
Yeah, well, I just, HBO Max, we get that, and I check in every week at what's new, and there's always something there that just popped up or I'd missed. So this is what I wrote down the stuff I want to watch. Hard Day's Night and Purple Rain are both available now on HBO Max. I can watch either of those movies anytime. And if I'm tired and I should go to bed, and if I see Purple Rain or Hard Day's Night, I'm going to watch a big chunk of it anyway. But more recent stuff, there's a documentary called David Bowie, The Last 5 Years, which would basically chronicle his life pretty much when he knew he was dying and getting ready to die. As he was preparing to put out his final album, Black Star. So I'd heard nothing about it. So I'm going to not read about it and just probably watch it tonight and see what it's about. There's a documentary about the Apollo Theater called Apollo, the Soul of American Culture, that I know less about the history of that venue than I should. And I realized that when I was watching the James Brown documentary, just how it's a name that just keeps coming up and you think you're familiar with it. And I'm like, I really don't know how it got started. So I'm going to watch that. And then speaking of great artists who have passed on, there's a documentary about Sharon Jones, who died of cancer a few years ago. Just an electrifying performer. If you've never listened to her music, Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, just fabulous, like old taproot raw soul and R&B. She died. And this, according to the little synopsis, it follows her. She knew she was sick. Didn't necessarily know she was dying, but she knew she had a pretty serious disease. And we saw her on one of her last shows. Well, we saw her like about 18 months or 2 years before she died. So, and had it in the back of our minds that who knows if we'll see her again. So, lovely lady, just a great, great performer, kind of underappreciated. So I'm really interested in seeing that. It'll be a little sad, but it'll be good to see her live again.
Well, to bring things kind of full circle here, I guess one thing that, you always want when we're talking about the fact you feel a little removed or distant or not engaged with the current things that are going on musically, at least I really like Billie Eilish. And, that's not saying, and my wife's a super big fan of her too. And she won Best Song of the Year. There was some blowback on her for, the fact that these other artists were winning the awards during the night. And then, spoiler, she won the Record of the Year, and that maybe she was a little too effusive with her praise of the other artists, and there was white guilt or whatever. I don't know what the heck's going on there. but anyway, it's good for me to think of somebody who is putting out music that is yes, cutting edge, but some is just the song that won Song of the Year is just kind of a very traditional mid-groove, almost kind of a balladish song that there's nothing really crazy cutting edge about it. I mean, it does deal with, the usual honesty that she puts into her lyrics, but it really makes me feel better when somebody who's 20 years old is putting out something that I like.
Yeah, and she's like, you can't have one without the other. It's the way the songs are written, composed, and arranged, and how they match the lyrics, because her songs are as important lyrically as they are musically. Like, she's really been able to put the two together, those are my favorite songwriters. Like, when you're swept up by this catchy melody or a really appealing melody, and then you start to really parse the lyrics, just like, oh, this is serious. Like, oh, this is, and really well communicated, really well executed, well written. The language is really good. So, and that's the road she's on, which is why I think she's going to be around for a while. She Yeah, I like how, I mean, I like the austerity to some of her music. Even her bells and whistles aren't all over the place. There's a real organization to it, but it feels organic. And it's like, usually, like I said, suits the mood of the lyrics. And she's just kind of astounding as how mature she is for someone so young. And I don't know if she's just a savant, or she doesn't come up as anyone that's faking it, or that there's no pretense there. It's just who she is, and she's not trying to be anything else.
And she also does seem to, and it's part of the deal, to understand the music business as well. Eilish and her brother Phineas did share Best Song Written for Visual Media for the theme song for the latest James Bond movie, No Time to Die.
Oh, sure.
It's been delayed by the pandemic. So certainly writing a Bond theme is about as mainstream as you can get.
Right, but look at people who've written them, too. It puts her in a pretty good place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, good for her. And, like, yeah, she's, I think that's, I just say bravo for that, because, like, she could have been like, oh, I'm too precious for that. I'm not going to do any pop culture stuff. But she's like, hell yeah, I'll do a Bond theme. Let me have it. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this is more kind of evidence that she's pretty down to earth.
Tim, always a pleasure, and we love doing it each and every other week. Boy, I thought I was going to get through it without trotting out that bad phrase again. But I always enjoy it, appreciate the time, and I look forward to talking to you in half a month.
Great. Sounds good, Danny.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.